Namaste, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all our viewers across the globe. Welcome to another episode of the show. We started the show as the author's show in October 2021. So it's been a little over 2.5 years that we have been running this show. And we changed the name of the author show to this show in January this year. This is a virtual platform for the artists to showcase their creativity. And with that in mind, this evening, we bring you another guest. Before I start the introductions, let me also tell you that we'll be recording this event, this episode, and then subsequently I'll be sharing it on my YouTube channel as well as on other social media handles, tagging both Vardhan and Sonali wherever, in whichever social media platforms they are present. So before I start, now let me start with the introductions. Our moderator for the evening is going to be Vardhan Dharkar. Welcome once again, Vardhan.
Thank you.
Little introduction of Vardhan. Vardhan is a science graduate and chartered accountant with over 30 years of experience in leadership roles at various Indian multinational companies. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he decided to leave the corporate world to pursue his passions. Currently, he is learning Sanskrit and studying the Bhagavad Gita, driven by a deep interest in India's spiritual heritage. He has authored blogs on various Indian festivals, highlighting their relevance in modern times. Besides his scholarly pursuits, he is an avid photographer and enjoys cooking. He aspires to write about India's spiritual heritage in the near future. Welcome once again, Vardhan.
Thank you.
Now let me introduce to you the guest of the evening. Let me open her profile because she is a multi-talented personality, and you will get to know more about her during the episode. But let me quickly read out her introduction and let me put the spotlight on her as well. That is Sonali Raje for you. Welcome to the show, Sonali. Sonali Raje is a professor of chemistry at Towson University, Maryland. I hope I pronounced that right.
That's correct.
She is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai, and a US Fulbright scholar. The Empress of Indraprastha series is a unique feminine retelling of the Mahabharat from Draupadi's point of view. Each installment of this 5-part series addresses a distinct theme of current societal relevance. Part 1 focused on unconventional marriages and gender equality. Part 2 highlighted marital consent and women's empowerment. In the upcoming third book, the author tackles maternal home support for married daughters and the canker of sexual harassment. A self-professed chocoholic and potterhead, Sonali lives in Maryland with her husband and 2 children. So welcome once again to the show. And now I will move out of the frame and leave it to Vardhan and Sonali to take this forward. Over to you, Vardhan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay, for your warm introduction.
Thank you.
And namaste to all our viewers in India and outside of India. Welcome back to the show. Our guest today is very special, Sonali Raje. And with this episode, we go global because she is from US. So the show is now going global. So that's also one more milestone that we have achieved with this episode. Thanks, Sonali, for agreeing to come on our show for this conversation. Welcome
My
to the
pleasure.
show.
My pleasure. Thank you. It's an honor being invited here. Thank you very much.
So let's begin our conversation from teaching chemistry to chemistry of words. How did this journey happen? What were the ups and downs? What was the learning and the transformation that has taken place? And taken you to this new passion?
So it's like you said, it was a big transformation. It was a big change. I had no intention of ever being an author. I have written about chemistry, and I have several publications in chemistry and chemistry education. But this was something that happened accidentally because I have always been an admirer of the Indian epics, especially the Mahabharata, because it is so multifaceted. Not that the Ramayana is not, but Mahabharata just has so many nuances that are applicable to everyday life. And I have read multiple versions of the epic, even from feminine points of view. There has been Yagyaseni by Pratibha Ray, which is a Sahitya Akademi Award winner. Then there's Palace of Illusions, and there are multiple authors who have written about Draupadi. But there was something I felt that wasn't, in some ways, satisfying to me because I mean they are excellent narratives, they are great epics, and all of that. But I found that there was something that was the nuances in terms of the relationship of Draupadi with the other wives of the Pandavas, or how her maternal home was involved, because there's not a lot about her mother or her other brothers. I mean, people know Shikhandi and Drishtadyumna because those were the two main characters, but there is so much more about her brother Uttamajas and Yudhamanyu and all these characters which are considered side characters, but which have played a reasonably central role in the storyline, or even her role as a warrior. So I just wanted to explore those aspects of her personality through my writing.
How difficult it was for you to do the research for this particular project? And how did you find time to do it from your extremely busy schedule?
So I have been reading about this for quite a while. Like I said, I've been reading for a while, but there was no intention of specifically reading to write. But then once I had all these different versions, the viewpoints that I had, and I felt like, okay, maybe this storyline could be developed like this. That's when I started writing. And when I started writing, I automatically felt, okay, I have a lot of these fictional versions, but I need to go back to the root. And for that, I went to Rajagopalachari's book. And then there is the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institution, critical edition, which is thankfully available online, because if that wasn't available online, then I would not have been able to do this. The internet is a vast resource, and it was good that I could do it. I did most of my writing in 2017, 2018, and that I just, began as a part-time writing. I had read once that I think it was one of the books that Abdul Kalam had recommended, Light from Many Light. I forget the exact title, Light from Many Lives or something, which there was one very important sentence in that, and it almost said something like, to sum it up, it said, if it is important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse.
Yes.
Right? And time is something, it showed the importance of using time as a currency of wealth. Instead of how much money you have, focus on how much time do you have to spend on doing things that you really like, because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. Today is all you have. And I just, because I was writing about Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, I just felt like I'm going to find the time to do it. I will prioritize this because everything else, my corrections, my cooking, my family, all of that I have to do. That is not going away. If I prioritize that and if I put this secondary, then this is not going to happen. So what I did was, in some ways, to discipline myself, I just wrote in the beginning, in the morning. And then I had to take care of all the other things, which, I mean, that's not going away. Nobody else is going to do that for me. So that I had to do anyway. So prioritizing this and prioritizing my writing, instead of just looking at it as a hobby, by doing that, I think I was able to get some more writing done. And the other thing I focused on was, I'm not going to worry about whether this is going to get published or whether the readers are going to like it. It's the essential message of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Karmanyavadikaraste. Like, I'll do my job. बाकी आगे जो होगा, कोई पढ़ेगा नहीं पढ़ेगा, वो बाद में देखा जाएगा. So that's how I in some ways motivated myself and disciplined myself for this journey.
Okay. You have really imbibed the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. So you are a true follower. One of my questions you have partially answered, but I still would like to ask you is that you chose Draupadi and Mahabharat to write this series. You don't think Sita and Ramayana would have been equally interesting?
Yes, Sita and Ramayana would definitely have been. I mean, there is no comparison between the characters of Sita and Draupadi because both of them had their own trials and tribulations. Both of them went through a lot in life. It's not that I wasn't interested in Sita's journey. It's just that I think because I have read a little more of the Mahabharat, I thought that there was more to Draupadi's story that I could contribute to. And in many ways, I'm a staunch Krishna devotee. My grandmother we have a 100-year-old frame of Krishna in our house that I have gotten from my father's mother, from my grandmother. And I've always been somehow attracted to all the mischief of Krishna, all the things that he did for the society. Ram is the ideal Maryada Purushottam. And, I deeply respect that. But Krishna was somehow more relatable. He was the playful, mischievous God who still did a lot of good in the world. So for me, that was in some ways more relatable and not that there are favorites in gods, but I somehow can connect more to Krishna. And regarding whether Sita or Draupadi was more interesting, ये देखो ये सवाल ना बहुत लोडेड है क्योंकि सीता जी is considered to be an avatar of Lakshmi and Draupadi is considered to be an avatar of Parvati. So if I say Sita was more interesting, भगवान महादेव का कोप मुझे नहीं चाहिए. और if I say पार्वती is more interesting, अभी लक्ष्मी जी मुझ पे प्रसन्न नहीं हो जाएंगी तो फिर भी प्रॉब्लम है. इसलिए दोनों अपनी अपनी जगह श्रेष्ठ है. They are both just equally interesting characters in different ways. You have two sides of a coin, heads and tails, both are equally important. मीठा भी अच्छा लगता है, कभी कभी नमकीन भी पसंद है. Both are equally important for a diet. So I would say that's my answer.
Okay. Perfect. You handled it really well. You answered it really well.
Thank you.
So I hope that maybe in future, sometime in distant future, you will think about writing with Sita as the focal point.
Sure.
Okay. My next question is that when you have written about Mahabharat from Draupadi's perspective, and you have done so much of research and to understand each of the character and the way they looked at and the way they played out in Mahabharat, did it influence you in your personal life? Did it make any changes in you in any fashion?
Yes, actually. I think in some ways, once you start writing, you can't help but absorb some of your characters, the things that you are doing. And then in some ways, I think some parts of your personality also show up throughout your writing. So I have now actively started looking at time as my valuable currency. कि पैसा कितना मिल रहा है is not, I mean, it's important, money is important, I deeply respect it. But thinking of how much time I have, I try to treat each day as if it's the single most important day of my life, which it is, which I think we should all realize because I don't know kal kya hoga, it's not something that is in our hands. I have tried to prioritize my health and my time more. I have also, based on the readings, I've also tried to see, instead of comparing myself with anybody else, which I would do when I was a little younger, now I am at a stage in life where I think I am quite comfortable with being where I am. I just want to make sure that I am a little bit better today than yesterday. So the focus is, in some ways it sounds narcissistic, but it's not. It's just I'm trying to make sure that I am projecting the best version of myself in my family and in the surroundings. And I try to do conscientiously, I try to do at least one act of kindness every day, either whether it is in terms of charity work or helping somebody without expecting anything in return. कि मुझे इसमें से कुछ मिलने वाला है ऐसा नहीं है, but or just feeding birds, putting out water, anything that I can do to give back to the community that I belong to. That's what I have tried to do. And I hope I can continue to do that as my writing progresses and even after that.
Very impressive and really touching the way you have explained this transformation in you. And I think that is something that is very important, is that each one of us, when we are moving forward in life, we have to keep learning. And this aspect of not comparing with others is, I think, something which is very focal to our spiritual life.
Yeah.
So, really touching.
Thank you.
Our readers definitely would love if you can read a passage from your book.
I actually don't have a
Okay.
copy just now
Not
with
an-
me.
Okay.
can-
Okay.
But I
No,
can
not
just
an-
quickly, but I can quickly just tell you what book 1, book 2, and book 3 focuses on. So book 1 is, how we have the story of Draupadi where Kunti said that she has to marry all the 5 brothers. And there are multiple versions where she had Mahadev's blessings, so she agreed to it. But what I have tried to take was, see, there are 6 people involved in it, right? The 5 brothers and Draupadi herself. And because I was writing from a feminist/feminist point of view, I just wanted to, and it because the Mahabharata is relevant even in current times, and the focus was on women's empowerment. I wanted to give her the onus of being a decision maker in her own life. कि किसी ने कहा है, माँ ने कहा है तो शादी कर लो. I mean, think about it. Would you, as a woman, want to marry somebody just because their mother forced them to marry you? That was the one thing. So she has a conversation with all the brothers as to how this is going to work out for the common good for all of them. And then Nakul Sahdev's aspect, which has not really been brought forward in many of the versions of the story. I've given them a lot of space. In book 2, I have given the wives of the other Pandavas, how they get together and bring their own individual skills. One is a cook, one is a financial analyst, one is a dancer. How they bring all their skills to developing their kingdom is something I have done in book 2. And in book 3, after the Vastraharan, see, everybody knows the story. So I'm not like doing some groundbreaking, it's not, I have to stick to the original Mahabharata storyline, but I have to explore the nuances, the why behind the what. Everybody knows what happened. And there are many versions which give you different aspects of why this might have happened. But I have tried to give it from a woman's perspective as to how it is important to have maternal support, because Draupadi goes through so much. Nowadays, we know that it's important for women to have the support of their maternal home, no matter what happens to them. So I've tried to bring out that aspect of her mother, her brothers, and how they support her after the trying time of her life.
Very interesting. So going forward, how many more books do you think you will have in this series?
In this series, there will be 2 more. So my contract is for a 5-part series. The goal wasn't originally to write 5 parts. I was going to stop with 3. But then when I started writing with book 2, it just became so much like I just couldn't stop writing in some ways. And then my publisher was willing to like make it into 5 parts because it was symbolic. Like, it's Draupadi. She has 5 husbands. So I just divided her story into 5 parts. So that's how it came about to be. I think it's
Okay. So yeah. So going forward, what is your next project? Maybe that is something our viewers would like to know.
Abhi to I haven't really like, I mean, I think about it occasionally, but nothing has come to mind yet. Unless I feel like deeply passionate about it, I won't be able to write. I have to like really feel strongly about it. So right now my focus is just, I'm currently working on part 4. So once I finish this, I am definitely, I mean, I definitely hope to continue writing. Maybe some, but not in this genre, maybe. Like I might go branch out into something else, maybe non-fiction, and then I might come back to historical fiction or mythology. Something that might benefit society, hopefully. Let's see.
Okay, so we will look forward to that. Since you are based in US, what was the reaction from the readers or your friends, colleagues over there who may not have an understanding of Mahabharata the way we have?
Right. So we have a decent Indian community here. So they were all intrigued by what I was trying to present, and they were also like excited to read it. Some of my colleagues, when I put my book in our university library, some of my colleagues wanted to find out more about a different culture which they might not have read about, because a lot of people have read about Greek myths. They are like familiar with the biblical versions of different stories. Moses, the story of Moses is very well known. But it was interesting for a lot of people to see the similarities between our culture and their own version of their own epics. So it was for a lot of my colleagues, it was really interesting to see how India has this great book. Not a lot of people, like Mahabharata is the longest poem in the world. I mean, we have Homer and Iliad, which are reasonably long poems, but the Mahabharata is so much bigger than both of them. And I think it helps to broaden people's perspectives also, to give them a different aspect of what our culture has brought into the world. So it was definitely interesting, eye-opening, and in some ways, some challenging for them to read and accept, because this was something new that some of them had not heard about. But then there were also some people who have, American people who have experience with Indian mythology. They know the story of the Mahabharata, and for them, it was an interesting, different angle to see how Draupadi's story plays out.
Yeah, I think that is true. That is
Yeah.
very true. Is that looking at it from each character's perspective, it gives you a different insight as to why things happened the way they happened. And what was the rationale for somebody acting in the fashion that he acted.
Right.
And that's very difficult to do. Meaning to give a perspective to a character is not that easy.
Yeah.
And that is something which you have done so well.
Thank you. And you're right about that, like Duryodhan will have his side of the story. Karan would have his version, Yudhishthir would have his, and there are multiple readers or authors who have written about those also. I have read some of the books from these characters' perspective, but writing about a woman, many women have written about her, but it was just interesting to, or even in some ways challenging, to portray such a well-known character who has been written about multiple times. So that was definitely challenging. I would say I have, in book 3, I have explored a little bit of Hidimba, and she was the first daughter, Kunti's first daughter-in-law. She has not been written about, and either me or somebody, I hope somebody at least takes up writing about her, because I mean I have done a couple of chapters about her in book 3, but it would be interesting to see how she thought of the whole situation, because she has given and given and given so much without getting anything in return. Right? She lost a lot of stuff in her life. So you're right about that. It's like each character has their own vision of seeing things.
So any plans for making a TV or OTT platform series out of this?
वो तो मेरे publisher पे है. If they decide to give it to somebody, that will be great. I don't know. I mean, it would be hard to decide who should play what. I have thought about this sometimes, like who would be the central character of Draupadi. Instead of, I think it would be more in line with my journey or my wish, if you will. If we can have an animated version, because the Draupadi character that is there on the covers, I think it's a very beautiful depiction. The artist has done like full justice
Yes.
to the character of Draupadi on book 2 and even book 3. So if
Yeah.
we could have a team of people who have not gotten opportunities in life, if we can have a team of animators, or even, people who are from low income socioeconomic backgrounds, if we can have them generate characters and put together an animated series with voiceover talent, people who have not been already given opportunities, if we can create job opportunities or different opportunities for people who can benefit from it, instead of just giving it to the same people who already have a lot. Like Bollywood is so saturated. So if we could do that, I would be happier, instead of just having some well-known face playing the character of Draupadi. That's at least my, not goal, but my hope and my wish, if it happens on OTT.
Perfect. You bring a different perspective altogether to this aspect. So
yeah.
as part of the show, we also have a rapid fire round,
Okay.
and I hope you will enjoy that.
Sure.
So we start.
Yeah.
So first question: teaching or writing?
Writing.
Writing. Mumbai or Maryland?
Anytime Mumbai. वो तो सोचना भी नहीं है.
Okay. So I think next also you will have ready answer. Batata vada or burger?
Patata vada. Vada pav, if possible.
Vada pav. Yes. Favorite character in Mahabharat?
Krishna.
Krishna. Okay. Draupadi of 2047. Will she be completely different from what it is, and how do you visualize her in 2047?
She will be the same as she was over the millennia, because I believe that women's struggles and the issues they face have always been irrespective of the time frame that people are born in. Humans are the same. They have the same needs for a dignified living and a need to be accepted. So whether Draupadi was there in the Mahabharat times or 2047 or 2147, the character will remain the same, the ethos will remain the same, only the timelines will change. That's my genuine belief, and that's why I've written the character the way I've written her, because it's very relevant to what we have now.
It's a very serious thought that you have given, and there is a lot that all of us need to think whether there can be a change in 2047 or at least 2147. So congratulations, you have won the rapid fire round with flying colors.
Thank you.
And when you meet Sanjay in Delhi, he will give you the gift hamper.
Oh, I didn't know there was a gift hamper, but honestly, there's no.
So,
Hamper. That the condition is that you have to go and meet Sanjay in Delhi. It
Okay.
doesn't happen.
so that
With
was
this,
yeah. So that was really a very insightful episode, Sonali, and a totally different perspective. In fact, we have a Dr. Manisha Pandey with us also on the show, and so her comment was so true. Every person is unique. It's just to whom you relate deep from.
Yeah.
That's what she has said. So thank you, Dr. Manisha, for your. She's also going to be featuring in one of the episodes sometime in a month later down the line. So
Looking forward.
that was really very interesting, and I would say I would request all the viewers that please do read Sonali's book. I have the book one of hers with me. That's the Empress of Indraprastha entering Kuruvansh. And so please do read her books from this series, and please also do share your reviews, because reviews are something that help us as writers to evolve. That is extremely important. And
And I would like to add to that, Sanjay ji, that share your honest perspective. It doesn't matter if it's a negative review or a positive review. The way I look at
exactly,
it, किताब है, गुड़घानी तो है नहीं कि सबको मीठी लगे.
yeah,
जैसा आपको जो ऑडियंस को या रीडर्स को लगता है वो जेन्युइन पर्सपेक्टिव देना है, which
exactly.
helps a writer, like you rightly said, it helps
Yeah.
us write better stories.
So true, so true. So that brings us to an end of this episode of the show. And I hope viewers enjoyed it. I will once again remind that we have recorded this episode, and we'll be sharing it on my YouTube channel and as well as on other social media handles, tagging Vardhan and Sonali as well. And so please do view the episode and do share your comments on that as well. That's it. So thank you once again. Yeah, Dr. Manisha is raising her hand. So Dr. Manisha, would you like to ask a question? Can you please, switch on your video? Would you like to switch on your video and ask?
Oh, actually, I'm at a public place,
Okay.
so I'm just off my hospital. Um, uh, uh, First of all, I would like to congratulate you for another one of your good episodes, coming across such a nice person. And Sonali, I was so raptly listening to your thoughts. I had to come out and speak out. So it was a unique take. And yes, our women, they deserve, instead of putting them on the pedestal, analyzing their characters as a human being would, their thoughts, their processes, not this is something I relate to, and it was a wonderful discussion.
Thank you so much. Coming from another author, that really means a lot. People who write are already, they know the challenges, and when somebody says that, that's really helpful as a writer. Thank you.
So,
Yes.
so thank you, Manisha. Thank you. And once again, thank you, Sonali, for being with us this evening or this morning for you. And looking forward to meet you soon in Delhi or in Mumbai. And looking forward to have more episode to have you on more of our episodes as you bring out other parts of your series. So once again, thank you all very much. Goodbye. Have a safe Sunday evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Wish
Thank
you
you
all
very
the
much.
best
Thank you.
for your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Bye bye.